Saturday evening. We still have a couple of storms, a little stronger at times, and that threats for some heavy downpours certainly out there once again. But we have one severe thunderstorm warning, which definitely needs to be talked about, especially in Tuscarawas County. Big old thunderstorm just continues to sit, and 500 lightning strikes from this storm across parts of Tuscarawas County, just around the at least Dover-Philly area. Uricksville certainly inundated with a lot of that potential for some heavy downpours for the next half hour, 45 minutes. So, yeah, a lot of potential of some significant rainfall and frequent lightning. This warning goes to about 7:30 p.m., and we're about 7:11, so another 15, 20 minutes on this warning, which may be extended as this continues to stick around, really not moving too quickly throughout the last 10 or so minutes. Let's put it into motion right now. Very, very, at least, heavy downpour continuing to inundate a lot of northern Tuscarawas County, even into the western half of the county. A lot more significant lightning over the next few hours. So a little bit more in the way of heavy downpours and frequent lightning, a big bet for most areas throughout the second half of this evening. We have one severe thunderstorm warning just outside of our viewing area in Crawford County. That goes to about 7:30 as well, but it continues to move further eastward into Richland County, just to the northwest of Mansfield around Shelby. Could see a little bit of this, but this one's not nearly as intense or not nearly as potent as the one into Tuscarawas County late this evening. So I think that'll start to die down a little bit as we saw some rain earlier today. That'll kind of keep things a bit less severe, thankfully, but still nonetheless a lot of lightning. Well over 160 lightning strikes with that one around Crawford County right now. Outside of those two major concerns, a few lightning bolts around Ashtabula and some rain in our extreme eastern counties. But Greater Cleveland so far has missed a lot of it. So we saw a few lightning bolts earlier this afternoon. We heard a few of them here at the station throughout the end of the 4 and 5 o'clock hour, but not a lot of significant rain continues to move into the Greater Cleveland area so far, which is some good news. So a lot of that significant rain kind of on the fringes of our viewing area right now here in most of Northeast Ohio. So the main one of concern certainly in Tuscarawas County. Let's take some of that lightning off right now. So around the Route 250 corridor, just between Dover, New Philly, and Fort Washington, certainly a lot of rain and a lot of significant rain. Wouldn't be surprised maybe see a flood warning with this, and maybe even a flash flood warning, as this is a pretty slow mover at about 20 miles per hour, slowly drifting northward. So it's going to be slow moving, and a lot of significant rainfall does not equal good times if you're going to be traveling. So if you know anyone traveling from Dover to Philly further south into Guernsey County, give them extra warning, as that threat for significant rain is going to be with us for at least the next 15 to 20 minutes. I kind of anticipate this warning to continue for at least the next half hour, maybe even longer than that, as this continues to be a very slow-moving system, and the winds are not really too strong at the moment. I think the heavy rain is going to be the bigger concern, but some gusty winds aloft could start to move down with some of these very heavy downpours for the rest of the evening hours. And as I mentioned, not too much else to talk about, thankfully, outside of Dover to Philly right now. So that is some good news. If you can be anywhere out and about here in Cleveland, Akron, Canton, a little bit of rain starting to move into Canton, but most of that not really seeing too much severe potential. And then that threat for a few more stronger storms out towards our western communities will start to move eastward. Now, models kind of a little at least difficult to manage a lot of this rain. Some bring a little more rain through the evening hours, and then it pretty much dries out after midnight. But a couple other models suggest more rain even after midnight. So we'll keep a very close eye on this over the next couple of hours, but anticipate some scattered showers and thunderstorms for the rest of this afternoon and evening, as that threat will be there for some heavy downpours, frequent lightning, maybe a gust or two of wind. So far, Tuscarawas County, the only severe thunderstorm warning right now. It goes to about 7:30. The time on the Power 5 about 7:14. So we're getting close to that warning's expiration in 15 minutes, but not really showing signs of dying down by any stretch. So we'll certainly keep an eye on it as we do get here through the next 15 minutes or so. And then a little bit more of that rain off towards the west from Sandusky, towards Bucyrus, Marion, towards central Ohio. So a lot of this is not really showing signs of intensification so far, with the exception of that severe thunderstorm warning right around Bucyrus in Crawford County, and that continues to march a little bit further eastward. Could impact parts of northern, at least Richland County, over the next half hour, 45 minutes. And the lightning certainly has been a display for sure. Let's try to get the lightning back on here for a second. Well over at least 100 strikes into Bucyrus, just north of downtown, and about 153 strikes with just this storm alone, and then it's continuing to move eastward. So if you have anybody that you know in, say, Shiloh, Shelby, down towards at least the southern half of Richland County, you're probably hearing that thunder, not necessarily at least seeing a lot of lightning, but that potential will be increasing greatly over the next half hour or so. And then further south, obviously, that lightning display is pretty intense around Uricksville, Doverny, Philly. Well over 453 lightning strikes from this storm alone. So that is a pretty healthy storm that continues to pummel parts of Tuscarawas County over the next hour or so. So definitely continue to stay indoors. Anything outside of that, you will not be seeing too much of that rain for the next foreseeable future. But a lot of that lightning continues to stick around parts of Tuscarawas County. A little bit of lightning now in Canton. That storm kind of moving a little bit further northward as well. Let's take a little bit more of a motion on the radar and slowly starting to creep back into downtown Canton. So a little bit of light to moderate rain with a few lightning strikes in at least central Stark County, but the main lightning show well to your south, starting to make its way a little bit further northward. So parts of southern, at least Stark County, could see some of those stronger storms within the next half hour or so. So you want to stay inside and kind of at least ride out these storms, as they are pretty potent, especially in our southern communities right now. Alrighty. Let's see here. Janie, what's the movement of that storm in Tuscarawas County? That's moving off towards the north at about 20 miles per hour. So it's a fairly slow mover right now, unfortunately. And yeah, that's going to provide a lot more potential of some flooding, especially in some of those back roads. A couple weeks back, we did have some flash flooding in Tuscarawas County. There's a possibility yet again, as these storms are not really moving too quickly. So a lot of rain falling out of a very short amount of time is not boding well, especially with all these very high dew points. We're still looking at a lot of 70-degree dew points throughout the evening hours. So there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere for these storms to kind of feed on. And you'll notice lightning still well above 440, dropped a little bit, but my goodness, this is definitely a light show for sure. A lot of thunder with this one, and a lot of heavy rain, a good bet as well. So if you're going to be out and about over the next couple of hours, even if you're into parts of southern Tuscarawas County, you're probably hearing a lot of that lightning for sure throughout the next half hour, 45 minutes. That warning still goes into at least effect for the next 10 minutes or so, poised to go out at 7:30, but they might increase that time, especially with this thing really not dying down much, if at all, within the last 10 or so minutes. You usually like to see the storm kind of at least weaken a little bit, but the numbers continue to go up with that lightning strike, and that continues to indicate more strengthening with this system. Even some rain towards the south and west into parts of the at least I-77 corridor towards Wheeling, and that continues to be a little bit more of a problem for travelers on the freeways, as hydroplaning can very much happen very quickly with these conditions. So if you're going to be out and about, moving anywhere along at least I-77 through Tuscarawas County, you pretty much want to take it easy. I'm sure a lot of folks are probably starting to slow down considerably with a lot of this rain and lightning throughout the county. And then off towards the north and west, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in Crawford County, just outside of our viewing area, but this may impact parts of Richland County in the next half hour or so. So basically north, at least of Mansfield, the threat for some stronger winds, maybe some frequent lightning, and also some heavier rain a possibility. Further south, things not looking too bad around Marion, but further south still into parts of Columbus, Dublin, a lot more significant lightning. That's showing some signs of at least strengthening. So still the rain and thunder pretty much the bigger concern, with maybe some frequent at least wind gusts about 30 to 40 miles per hour, but there could be a couple of 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts a possibility in these severe thunderstorm warnings in Crawford County, as well as into parts of Tuscarawas County for the next couple of hours. So basically stay indoors with these systems slowly making their way through, and a lot of this will provide some heavy downpours for those areas impacted so far this evening. Rachel, so far Lodi not looking imminent at the moment. We did see some rain earlier today, so the atmosphere hopefully will stabilize a little bit, but the potential will be there for some scattered showers, if not some rumbles of thunder for the next couple of hours. So the rain is still a possibility, but definitely keep in mind the lightning potential is still there. So if you're going to be maybe thinking about heading outside, just kind of keep in mind, if you hear thunder, you're close enough to that lightning to be problematic. So Lodi not too far away, but still a chance for some of that to kind of weaken as we do move into this evening. Sunset's a little bit before 9 o'clock right now, so we still have about an hour and a half to nearly 2 hours of at least daylight left here this evening. So these storms still have a lot of time to kind of stay strong for at least parts of the News 5 viewing area through the next couple of hours. Frankie, Worcester, yeah, definitely potential for some stronger storms in the next couple of hours. But like I mentioned, Lodi could potentially see a little bit of rain, maybe some stronger winds. But notice things are starting to rain a little bit right now in Worcester. No lightning associated with that at the moment, but there will be that potential for some heavier downpours with a lot of that at least moisture within the atmosphere still. So the threat is there for at least some rain, some frequent lightning out there. So definitely stay prepared. We're not going to be looking at a lot of significant severe weather this evening, but still a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings still on the table right now for Tuscarawas and Crawford County so far. Let's see, Euclid. Let's see, it's probably a little bit safer towards the north and east. Euclid so far really hasn't seen much in the way of precipitation, as a lot of it stayed to the south, and the atmosphere was certainly well worked over through parts of southern Cuyahoga County in the last hour or so. We did see a flash flood warning that thankfully expired around 6:30, but still some rain fell, which is going to help kind of keep things a little bit quieter. But that chance of some rain will continue to stick around at least through the first half of the overnight tonight. So you're not seeing anything right now in Euclid necessarily, or for that matter, downtown Cleveland and Parma, but the threat will be there for some scattered showers and even a couple of thunderstorms within the next hour or so. So hopefully things will quiet down a little bit as this system continues to move further eastward. And let's take another loop on the radar here, showing a lot of activity out towards the west. Only one real flare-up in that lightning display right now in Crawford County. Towards the north, things a little bit quieter, even towards Toledo into western parts of Ohio, things not nearly as bad. So where the storms are firing up, the atmosphere really hasn't been worked over too much. So that's showing signs of a lot more instability for these storms to kind of feed on. Pretty much everywhere, moisture is abundant. So that's not the question. It's where the at least instability lies, that gasoline for those thunderstorms to kind of feed on. And some of it has been at least diminished here in parts of northeast Ohio, but some areas still a lot of it. So that continues this evening. So keep in mind, heavy rain will be a possibility if you're traveling this evening. I don't see a lot of significant severe weather, but there could be a couple of stronger wind gusts out there. But heavy rain is going to be the bigger concern for the next several hours here in most of northeast Ohio. So keep in mind, that will definitely be a big concern if you're traveling. Hydroplaning is going to be a big concern, and also that threat for maybe some flash flooding is still not out of the question before all said and done by tomorrow morning, early afternoon at the very latest. Still a frontal boundary kind of draped across the majority of the state is causing a lot of this rain to form. And let's take a look at our at least map right now. So we do have that frontal boundary kind of draped across the majority of Ohio towards Indiana. It is a fairly weak boundary, but just enough there to kind of cause concern for those thunderstorms to feed on. And there's a lot of moisture out there, a lot of instability. Pretty much typical July weather here in northeast Ohio with this front, basically the catalyst of that potential for some showers and storms. And that's going to be with us at least through the day tomorrow. We'll start to see things quiet down tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening. So that is certainly some good news. But for the rest of this evening, for sure, heavy rain, a good possibility. You can really tell where a lot of these storms are starting to fire right along that boundary. So the further south and west towards Columbus and Cincinnati, Kentucky, Indianapolis, not much going on. But where that front is, a lot of these storms continue to fire, and they're moving more towards the north and northeast over the last couple of hours. So the movement continues to bring most of it here into the News 5 viewing area about the second half of this afternoon and this evening. So if you're just joining us right now, we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings to pass along. One still in Tuscarawas County. Lightning still a spectacle, but notice numbers starting to go below 400, which is some good news because about 10, 15 minutes ago, that was not so much the case. We'll take a look at where this was a little after 7 o'clock. We were nearly 500 lightning strikes in just this little section of storm alone. So yeah, definitely a lot of lightning out of this system that continues to stay a little stronger, but numbers have been starting to go down. So that is some good news. Still well over 300 lightning strikes with this. So stay indoors for sure. Stay in your car. And a lot of significant rain continues to pummel most of northern Tuscarawas County, Uricksville, towards Dover, New Philly, towards the Stark County line. The heaviest rain continues to stick around, and a lot of this lightning is slowly starting to go down, which is a good sign, but still a lot of heavy rain, a good bet here in the next couple of hours. All right, let's see what we got here. Where's my mouse? Okay, Kira, where in let's see, Wycliffe, do you have any size of hail? Is it pea size, size of a quarter? Anything significant out of that? As far as hail reports, we'd love to have at least a confirmation of how big it is as far as the hail size, because anything bigger than a quarter is technically severe. Anything smaller than a quarter is not severe, thankfully. So if it's about the size of a marble or smaller, pea-sized hail, thankfully things not on the severe side, but still some hail could produce some damage, especially if you have anything growing in the garden, which is always a sight that you don't want to happen, especially with some of these storms here in northeast Ohio this time of the year. And as far as most of the region right now around Greater Cleveland, pretty quiet for the second half of this evening. The threat will be there for some stronger storms throughout the next couple of hours, a lot of them well to the west at the moment. Downtown Canton looking at the potential for some lightning right now. Some rainfall continues ahead of the main storm that's moving through parts of Tuscarawas County. But thankfully, lightning is starting to go back down again this evening. That is a good sign. But only about 391 lightning bolts. That's still a pretty significant amount. That will continue to stick around. Officially, we've got about another 3 or 4 minutes on that warning. But I do anticipate that warning to continue for Tuscarawas County, as that has not really gone down much in the last 10 minutes or so. Let's see what the National Weather Service has to say about that one. Let's see here. As they're part of the Pittsburgh National Weather Service area. Let's see. Heavy rain is going to be the primary concern with that one just yet. They haven't at least officially said if they're going to continue that severe thunderstorm warning, because severe thunderstorm warning was for some gusts up to about 60 miles per hour. So maybe that starting to go down a little bit is some good news, but certainly a lot of heavy rain being a primary concern nonetheless, despite not having that severe thunderstorm warning in place. So another couple minutes on that, and hopefully that will expire, but the threat for some at least frequent lightning is still there, and a lot of heavy rain around Uricksville, Dover, Philly, and just to the north and west of Mansfield, that threat for some stronger storms continuing to stick around throughout the next couple of hours. So a lot of these storms basically just on the fringes of the News 5 viewing area, so not a lot actually here in Cleveland, Akron, Medina, parts of Worcester, a little bit of rain out there towards Dover, New Philly. The heaviest rain, and up towards at least Ashtabula County, not much in the way of significant rain so far today. They have seen some showers and storms for some areas, a little bit more significant rain over the last several hours, but not much to talk about, thankfully, here for the at least eastern half of our viewing area, from Ashtabula towards Parkman, just north of Youngstown, and even into southern parts of Summit and northern parts of at least Stark County on the quieter side this evening. So that rain pretty much on the fringes, as I mentioned, but it is coming down in buckets, swimming pools, however you want to describe it. It's definitely a very, very stormy night through parts of I-77 just south of Stark County and just north of Guernsey County. A lot of that significant rain and lightning, but things are starting to improve. Lightning counter beginning to go down, and still a lot of that significant lightning out towards the west of Shelby. Could be impacting parts of Richland County in the next couple of hours, but not a lot of that, at least thunderstorm chance outside of these two areas for the at least current time at around 7:30 this evening. So if you're going to be on the bounce, just kind of keep in mind the potential will be there for some stronger storms, some heavy rain, good bets, and also some very frequent lightning is a good possibility as well. So right now we're at 7:30 p.m. on this Saturday, and that warning's still intact for Tuscarawas County. Let's see if the National Weather Service out of Pittsburgh has decided if they're going to continue that. Oh, we have a flash flood warning now. I kind of figured, yeah, that flooding was going to be the big concern out there. We have that now in place. Let's take the lightning off of that and show you where that flash flood warning is in place now. So we have that basically along the I-77 corridor. You can kind of see that little stretch of I-77 right around there. Uricksville up towards, let's see, Bowerston. I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing a lot of these cities. Feed Springs, Deersville, just outside of that, Tippecanoe, just outside of the warning as well. So basically the central half of Tuscarawas County, just to the south of Dover, New Philly, around Uricksville, Ganade Hutton, certainly under that potential of some flash flooding right now, as a lot of that significant rain continues to fall. And let's get some estimates on some of these rainfall amounts within the last couple of hours. Now, remember, this is pretty far south from Cleveland, so the radar might be a little bit overestimating. Let's take a look at the Pittsburgh radar, see if they can get a little bit better of an estimate as far as how much rain has certainly fallen within the last couple of hours for sure. So let's take a sample here. That's about 2 1/3 inches potentially right around I-77, just south of Dover, New Philly. So yeah, that's definitely a lot of rain in a very short amount of time, and a lot of these rainfall amounts might be a little bit overestimating in a couple spots, but they also might be underestimating, as the radar being from Cleveland and Pittsburgh is still a long ways out. And remember, it shoots up, so that potential for a little bit of that rain continues to be a little more heavy and steady around Dover, Philadelphia. So this area right now under that flash flood warning until about 10:30 p.m. today, and this potential will linger as the rain continues to stick around late this evening through the first half of the overnight tonight. So a lot of that rain continues to stick around over the next couple of hours. So the rainfall continues to be very, very heavy and steady in our southern communities. Thankfully, things quieting down a little bit out towards the west, and these rainfall amounts have been well into the couple of inches range in some areas. Outside of the at least extreme amounts we've seen, we really haven't seen much in the way of significant rain, especially here in downtown Cleveland along the shoreline. Maybe about a 1/4 inch at most in a couple locations, but where there has been a lot of rain, we've seen 1, 2, 3, even close to 4 inches of rain. So that's causing that concern for a lot of flooding over the next couple of hours. All right, let's see here. Carroll County, Suzanne, definitely a lot of that lightning. Where is the severe thunderstorm warning? Yeah, you're just now looking at that warning expiring, but parts of at least, let's see here, Harrison County, just south of Carroll County under that flash flood warning. So the severe thunderstorm warning has since expired for Tuscarawas County, which is some good news, but a lot of that potential for some heavy rain is still a big, big problem. So you probably don't want to venture outside if you don't have to, but if you do, take precautions. A lot of this definite rain could cause some issues, especially on those at least roadways in Tuscarawas County, moving east and northeast a little bit at about 5 to 20 miles per hour. So a lot of this rain continues to fall, moving outside of most of the Dover and Philly area for the moment, still inundating parts of Tuscarawas County, but the good news is it is starting to move. A couple weeks back, I think it was about 3 or 4 hours worth of steady heavy rain in central Tuscarawas County, and that was definitely a big concern as well. So this evening, still a big concern, but I don't think it's quite as bad as it was last time, which is a good thing. But a lot of this rain continues to fall in a very, very short amount of time. So flooding issues will be a big concern out there for the rest of the evening hours. And we do not have a severe thunderstorm warning now for Crawford County, which is some good news as well. That was allowed to expire, but some of that rain starting to make its way into Richland County, right around Shelby. Let's take a look at some of that lightning right now. And yeah, definitely a lot of lightning still with this system, so that's going to be a concern as well. Let's see here, about 49 lightning strikes, and further south, well under 200 now. So that's showing signs of weakening with this storm, which is certainly some relief, but still a lot of heavy downpours, a possibility before this starts to die down a little bit more So I'd say between now and maybe as late as about 9 o'clock before things finally start to get much better across parts of Tuscarawas County. So a lot of that steady, heavy rain for the next half hour, maybe another hour before things start to quiet down a bit as that flash flood warning for Tuscarawas County goes to about 10:30 this evening. So a lot of this is a pretty significant event right now in Tuscarawas County. But outside of that, thankfully things quieting down. Still some heavy rain and also some frequent lightning possibility. So if you're out and about, give yourself plenty of extra time. Make sure you have a way to get some warnings. Our News 5 app is a perfect way to get that to you. And we have a little bit more time between now and about 9 o'clock before things start to die down a little bit more once the sun does go down. So we'll take a break right now. If anything does pop back up, I'll certainly come back on and let you know. But right now, that flash flood warning, Tuscarawas County, the biggest concern, still some rain and lightning along the I-71 corridor, but things are starting to trend a little better this evening. But keep in mind, heavy rain, frequent lightning, and definitely maybe a stronger wind gust or two a possibility before things start to quiet down a bit more later tonight. So until then, hopefully we'll not have to come back on and alert you of anything. And if we do, we'll certainly be on and giving you all the information